Hello and welcome to the Suit of Swords with Tarot. Now, obviously, we're going through the Suit of Swords today, so you brainstorm that, you come up with conflict. If we look at the element of the Suit of Swords, we come up with the element of air. Air doesn't give you conflict, does it really? Air gives you, well, yes, we all need to breathe. This is something that nurtures us, something that's essential to life. Air is the element of action. If you think of wind turbines generating electricity, or windmills grinding corn, providing that essential nutrient for life, that's the element of air. It is about action, sometimes about untapped action potential. I did make a video about some of sort of the dark cards of the tarot deck, and that's kind of a good place to start actually, because they're the ones that people are very wary of. Oh, I don't want to have reading in case the death card. Start at the end. Start with the Ten of Swords. Now, for my money, this is one of the scariest cards in the deck when it comes up. And of course, if you read for yourself, asking your tarot deck about your own life, about guidance, this may come up. And now just look at it. This is the Rider-Waite deck. The little signature down there at the bottom, Pamela Colman-Smith. Who painted theatre sets at a time when theatre sets were very much like the sets that are used nowadays in pantomime. When you look at this, you can see it's an actor on the stage. Yeah. This is the literal meaning of this is stabbed in the back. Your querent feels they've been stabbed in the back. The very black sky there. The key to understanding quite a lot of tarot cards is to look at the sky. You can see the yellow sky there on the horizon, or more specifically at the point where the backdrop of the curtain meets the stage. Things are going to get brighter. The message of tarot is always change. You're always somewhere on the wheel of fortune. So if you are right at the bottom, the only way is up, really. But look, this is not real blood. He is an actor. So sometimes you feel that you've been stabbed in the back. Maybe you've been made redundant. Did you really like that job? Was it time to leave anyway? Did the universe send you what you really needed? You got a parking ticket and you feel it was unfair. Well, come on. Maybe you shouldn't have parked where you did. Maybe you should have paid a bit more attention to those really annoying little street signs. We all go through life. We all learn lessons, and it's the tough lessons that teach us the most. So if you're reading for someone you don't know very well, or you're reading professionally, it is these kind of cards that are a bit difficult, and it's up to you how much you sugarcoat it, really. If I said that you feel you've been stabbed in the back, would you take that? Oh yes. It's kind of your choice as to sort of which way you go with that. Although, if you know a friend very well, you can probably say to them, "Look, come on, maybe it's just time to pull yourself together. You've got to know someone very well before you can give them that message." But sometimes this is what your tarot reading will tell you. Yeah. Swords, conflict. You are being a victim. Maybe think about that a little bit. This one This is the other really scary swords card. I sometimes the Nine of Swords. I sometimes call this the Morrissey card. It's the heaven knows I'm miserable now card. Again, it's very much look. You've hit rock bottom. Things will get better. It's always darkest before the dawn. Fine, but there is a certain amount of yes, step back from the situation. Come on, is it really that bad? Just hope you don't get this one in the future bit of a reading. But you often find this is using the Celtic cross. You'll find this is what crosses someone actually. You know, it is just a case of right, things are bad now, but you'll find a new job. You'll find somewhere new to live. You will, you will make progress. You will move forward because we're all always somewhere on our own personal fool's journey. Yeah. Page of Swords. Page. It's usually a messenger, fresh start, new beginning. So of course, common questions are things like, I've got a job interview coming up. How's it going to go? Am I going to get the job? Well, Page of Swords can mean, well, you're going to be offered this job. Stop and think about whether it's really right for you. The purpose of a job interview is so you can go in and you can talk to them and say, what have you got to offer me? It's a two-way process. You may not choose to, but of course, the other meaning of swords is cutting, Excalibur. Severance. People are often waiting for messages. They're often waiting to hear about something. They're waiting for a message about the job interview. They're waiting to hear from is my ex coming back to me? So the Page of Swords, if you wanted a tight definition of the future bit of a reading, which of course is what a lot of people will be asking for, is what you're going to hear from your ex, but it will probably be more of news of, well, it's been nice knowing you. It's not really a card of like a sort of a new beginning, a fresh start. It is much more a card of news about ending something, to be honest with you. You can't always give people the message that they're hoping for. Yeah. Knight of Swords. There he is. He's rushing into something. Look at the sky at the background. It's very cloudy. It's a bit stormy. He's charging off to the left. He's possibly headed in the wrong direction. Sometimes this might stand for your querent or yourself if you're reading for yourself. It's like, right, you're charging off. You're rushing in there. Make sure you're going in the right direction. If this is a potential partner, he's young. Age has nothing to do with years. It's really more to do with wisdom, I suppose, because some people can be very, still be very naive, even though they are theoretically grown ups. Maybe this is somebody charging off in the wrong direction, not being as mature as perhaps you would hope that they would be. Yeah. On the other hand, he might be the guy that you've been on a couple of dates with, or perhaps a woman you've been on a couple of dates with. Gender is not set in stone. Women can appear under sort of male guys, and vice versa. Maybe he is going to rush into your life and blow the cobwebs away. Maybe this is what you need. You need someone who's a bit impulsive, someone who sort of says on Thursday, hey, let's go away this weekend. Yeah? why not? Yeah. The King of Swords kept me in a living for many years, to be honest with you. The King of Swords and the Emperor. It's male energy, so that's either a man or quite a masculine woman. It's very often, it can be a boss at work. Very often an ex partner, and it is very often that, you know, am I going to hear from him? Is he coming back to me? Or if you're a professional reader, you will get calls from people who are about to go to court. They're about to go to court to sort out things like child custody, or perhaps they're going to court because I know they're owed money by someone. Yeah, you know, that's a kind of King of Swords type character. So there's obviously quite a lot of conflict there. So if you've got cards there, you know, like if you have something like the Lovers in the past, or crossing, card number 2, what crosses you, then, or the Three of Swords, which we'll come on to later, you kind of know that yes, he's an ex-lover. But if you've got lots of wands, which is work, lots of coins, pentacles, money, you're probably looking at maybe he's a landlord who's just being really difficult. You know, perhaps you rent someone rents a business unit and they've got problems with a landlord. That's a typical King of Swords type situation. We'll come on to victory and defeat shortly. Queen of Swords, sort of Hippolyta Amazon, warrior woman, the kind of female equivalent. But you know, do bear in mind, queens are not always women. Kings are not always men. Yeah. Either the king or the queen of swords can be your parents in some sort of guise. Come on, we all have conflict issues within our family. Families are not necessarily, you know, particularly joyful, happy groups of people, are they? Three of Coins. It's raining in my heart. All right, it's a bit of a bad pop song lyric, but hey, here we are. It's raining, and there are 3 swords piercing 1 heart. Obviously, it is a card of a broken heart. Very often indicates infidelity. Very often there was a, you know, he left me for that floozy. Yeah, very often it's because someone has left for another person. But yeah, card of a broken heart. It speaks for itself. This is the sort of thing that of course, you know, that we do not do end of the pier fortune telling. But this is, you know, this is the kind of thing that does come up. Look, brace yourself. It's not going to be all the Two of Cups and the Lovers, unfortunately. People coming for tarot readings are people with problems and issues, and they just expect you to shed a little light on the situation. So this may well appear in the past bit of a reading, in which case what your reading is saying is, look, it happened. There are good people out there. Take a little bit of a risk. You know, I mean, it's a real cliche to say there's plenty more fish in the sea, but it is very often, I'll never fall in love again. That's a song lyric and I can't think who by. But are you really? Come on, take a little risk. Get out there. If it's what's crossing you, it's often waiting to hear if he or she will come back. That she or he was the one. No, if he really was, you'd be together. Yeah. No. Two of Swords. This is not necessarily conflict. Again, you can see that this is an actor sitting on a stage, and she's a female character wearing a blindfold. She can't see everything. She's not seeing things clearly. And in the background is the moon. So we know that the moon and lots of water. So we know that you're not looking at the whole situation. You're not seeing things clearly. And this situation is not sustainable. You can't carry on holding those two swords for very long. You've got to make a decision, and it is a decision which is a choice between two things: yes or no, this or that. Is it really? Is there really no compromise? This is very much a should I stay or should I go card. Should I take that job or not? Should I move to Scotland or not? It's very much a decision between two things, and you've got to decide. Sometimes it's should I change or should I stay where I am? There's another card that goes with that is Nine of Coins, which is a kind of Bilbo Baggins bag end card. It is, shall I stay here on my nice cozy hobbit hole? But it's a dead end. It's a cul-de-sac. Or shall I be like Mole in Wind in the Willows and rush out and go and have adventures on the river? Yeah, the Fool says take a little risk, go out and have adventures. But probably not a great idea to make decisions for people, although some people will be asking you what is the best decision to take. Some people will ask you, if I do this, what will happen? If I do that, what will happen? We all have free will. The Ace of Swords. Aces, of course, card number 1, beginnings. And look at it. It has the sort of laurel wreath of victory there. Victory. Winning through. That's usually a six of wands card. Victory is something you work for. It's something you achieve. It's not something that is given to you. But the Ace of Swords, it can mean victory, can mean winning through, can mean cutting ties. Actually, can mean yes, it's time to cut ties. It's time to move on. Perhaps that means cutting ties and moving to another town, another city, another country. Perhaps it just means cutting ties with people in your friendship circle who no longer serve you. That's part of the Fool's journey, isn't it? Is that as we go through life, we meet new people who teach us things, and sometimes people come into your life, you do the work that's necessary, and then they leave your life, and sometimes you do just have to accept that. The other people, of course, that we need to cut ties with sometimes can be our own family, our parents, or our sons and daughters. 10 of Coins, 10 of Cups. A chapter of your life has come to completion. Let it go. Move on. It's always a message with tarot, isn't it? Let it go. Move on. And you can make change. 8 of Swords. I'm not just going through these numerically. 8 of Swords. Again, very much like the 2 of Swords. She's blindfolded. She's not seeing everything clearly. And look at the way she's bound. If she actually just pushed a little bit, she could get loose those bonds. She could get out of that. And although the swords look like they're a cage, actually, yeah, she could get out of that if she wanted to. It is time for change. You have the key to your own cage. Maybe it's time to get online, do some kind of online course, or go to evening classes, or do whatever, and actually learn a new skill set which will enable you to drive life forward. perhaps it's literally a case of learning to drive, because that opens up all sorts of work opportunities, doesn't it? Lots of jobs need you to have a driving license. The card of the Chariot, which is very much about driving life forward, can really simply just relate to something like passing a driving test, getting your wings that way. This is, you feel trapped, you feel stuck, but there is a way out. But remember, it's not your job to tell someone what the key is. It's their job. Seven of Swords. I think this is such a great card. Look at him. Oh, this has a real panto feel to it, doesn't it? Look at him. There he is with the Alibaba hat, and it's a thief card. He is sneaking away there with 5 swords that he's kind of stolen. It's a happy card. The sky is yellow. It's a sunny card. It can mean you feel someone has stolen something from you. Not physically, not like your house has been burgled, but like someone has taken, self-respect, self-esteem, confidence, that kind of thing. It could also put it in the positive. It's about reclaiming what has been taken from you, in terms of perhaps you've been doing a job where you've had one of those really dictatorial line managers who's completely flattened you, that you're good at the job. Often happens when you have a manager who knows that you can do their job and they feel threatened by you. Yeah. That happens a lot, doesn't it? But it is, yes, you can reclaim what's been taken from you. That's one way of interpreting that. But look at it and come to your own conclusions. Similar, five of Swords. This is very much victory and defeat. Look at the sky, very cloudy, nasty, horrible. It's about to rain sky, isn't it? Someone is walking away from there completely defeated, and in the foreground is somebody who's obviously the victor in this situation. He's really gloating. 5s are not nice cards. Fives are the point where everything goes horribly wrong. Is it really like that? Is it really a case of victory and defeat? Is it really a case of one person wins and one person loses? Is there not a bit of wiggle room for a bit of compromise there? Yeah, I mean, that's a typical Swords sort of thing, isn't it? It's about conflict, and it's about one person wins, one person loses. But it's probably not a good approach to life, is it? Is it? Maybe not. Maybe there's time for compromise. There's always time for moving on. The Journey Over Water card. A lot of water in this picture. We've moved away from air a little bit, haven't we? We've mentioned water quite a bit here. We've mentioned the element of emotion, because of course it's often a bit of conflict with emotions. Of all the Swords cards, this is the one that's about grief and bereavement. You often find something like the 6 of Cups there, the sort of just wishing card. It's the ferryman going over the river Styx. The people in the ferry are supposed to be a mother and child, and that's you are the mother of the child is also you. There is your physical self nurturing and caring for your spiritual self. Can sometimes mean literally a journey. If you have things like the Chariot, moving forward, moving on, Ace of Wands, new job. People often move to the other side of the country, the other side of the world for the right job, don't they? But more often it is very emotional, and you'd often find quite a lot of Cups cards in a reading where this comes up, in which case you know that it is about grief. It is about bereavement. It is about moving on. Not necessarily that someone has physically died. What has died is often a relationship, perhaps a job or a business. You set up a business. People talk about a business as being their baby, don't they? You set up a business, you can work really hard at it, and it can still fail. And you find that you're working 7 days a week for nothing. It's time to let go. It's time to move on. Yeah, because there's a lot of emotional energy tied up with our working lives. A lot of emotion, obviously, tied up in conflict. The Suit of Swords, it was never going to be an easy one to talk about, was it? This one, Four of Swords. This is the nearest minor equivalent to the Hanged Man. So obviously, 2020, the year of the COVID lockdown, this was coming up a lot because everybody's life was stuck. Everybody's life was on hold. Yeah. Look, sometimes the universe sends you what you need. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. If you broke your leg and you were stuck weeks and weeks and weeks with your feet up on the sofa watching telly, maybe that's actually what you need. Well, hopefully reading a good book, actually. Maybe that's what you needed for your own personal development. The picture of the knight on the tomb there. He's not he's not dead. This is a card of somebody being asleep and they will wake. Maybe a bit like King Arthur. It's coming back one day, maybe. But this is, it is very much about everything's stuck, everything's on hold. Just accept. Complete opposite from the Knight of Swords. The Knight is rushing off in the wrong direction. This is just accept. Just accept that you have to wait. Much as we don't really want to. That's the whole of the Suit of Swords. But let's just have a quick look at Justice. Justice carries a sword, and that's normally an end of conflict. Justice or justice denied. If people often want to hear that everything is someone else's fault, and of course they will achieve justice. But bear in mind, if you get a speeding fine, justice has been served. I mean, you can't say, oh, if you get the card of justice in a future bit of a tarot reading, it means you're going to get a speeding fine. But bear in mind, that's a reasonable interpretation, isn't it? Justice. Maybe you have done something wrong, but we hope that justice is achieving what is right and fair and just for yourself. But karmic justice is a little bit different from straightforward court of law. The Emperor, mentioning him because he's a bit different from the King of Swords, but you will sometimes find the King of Swords and the Emperor, or the King of Coins, all appearing in one reading, because the same man will appear in different aspects of your querent's life, of your querent's reading. The Emperor, very down to earth, very stagnant, but slow to change. And again, someone or something that it's quite easy to have a conflict situation with. Yeah, may not be a person as such, may not be your boss at work, could be work as it's set at work in itself, or your bank. Either perhaps your bank or your workplace could be a king or a queen of swords in your life. Yeah. I think we all feel a little bit uncomfortable with too much conflict. But come on, a quarter of the minor cards in tarot Our swords, they are about conflict, they are about cutting ties, they are about moving on, but they are about action. Right. So I think next we'll come on to the suit of what's called variously wands, staves, or batons, which would, in a conventional deck of cards, simply be spades. It is simply about work, but that's not always about your paid employment, because of course we all do lots of work that we're not paid for. So hope to see you again soon, and we'll have a look at the suit of wands and the element of fire. So enjoy your entire journey, and I'll see you soon.